Good afternoon and good evening, friends. It's a very unusual way of addressing you all, but that is how it is. We all are sitting in different time zone and watching this. I wish I could give all of you a big and warm hug, but alas, a microscopic parasite changed everything. And here we are sitting far away from each other. There has been no let-up in this surreal time that we are living through. And gradually the shape of the world post-lockdown is beginning to emerge. And with it come more questions than anyone can possibly answer. As more and more festivals are rescheduled, postponed, or cancelled, the implications on promoters, artists, staff, and partners continue to mount up. And the music fraternity needs some reassurances which will help to light up their dejected souls. Music Connect Asia began as a dream to create a strong bonding amongst all of us. The dream that each one of us can discover and share our innate creativity. And while doing so, connect to each other as a single community in the most powerful way we know. The artists and creators should be able to share resources and free information through platforms and tools that encourage capacity building projects. Friends, I do not need to tell you how important this day is to all of us. And let me begin by telling all of you how great it is to see that so many of you took out time from your busy schedule to celebrate the power of creativity. Today, all of us together, we are witnessing the opening of the 2020 Asia Music Summit. Asia Music Summit 2020 will feature key industry figures from Asia's diverse music sectors, who will be delving into the cultural power of the continent and open up unsighted doors for many music professionals and artists in the years to come. Within a very short span of time, we have been able to congregate music and industry professionals from over 24 countries in Asia. More than 50 industry professionals, including artists, festival directors, funders, collaborators, cultural ambassadors, have joined us. I extend to you all our warmest welcome, especially to those who have responded to our last-minute call. I'm really thankful to all the territory representatives for coming forward and joining hands to strengthen this platform for a better tomorrow. Our very recent initiative, Artists from Asia, has gained immense appreciation from the music lovers and musicians from all over the world. We have a lot more initiative coming up in the next few months, which will help the artists to step out of their own territory and reach out to a larger segment of audience. Cross-culture collaboration is in progress, and we have successfully connected musicians from multiple countries who are creating and developing new music. Friends, singers and musicians are some of the most driven and courageous people on the face of the earth. We speak different languages. We belong to different countries. Our culture is different, but we speak a common language, and that is music. And the power of music touches the heart. We all are one. Together we shall live. Together we shall move. Together we shall grow in splendor. And together we shall live in amity and harmony without any conflict or skirmish. A huge thank you to everyone who helped make our first ever virtual summit a reality. I gratefully acknowledge the generosity of Global Toronto and Small Music for giving us this opportunity, and thank backstage and production team including Shanley, John, and Matt. I thank all my board members, especially my dear friend Lama Hasboon and Umar Zafar, for extending their unstinted support. Friends, we can't wait to see you all again next year, hopefully in person. I wish every one of you a great year ahead, and I assure you that whatever we can, we will do for the music fraternity of Asia, who we call our family. Take care of yourself, be happy, and don't get COVID. Our first session is 12 countries from Asia, an introduction to lesser known territories, their music industry, and opportunities. I now request Junlin, a dear friend and my colleague, and also the artistic director, Rainforest World Music Festival, to take over and proceed with the session. A very big thank you to all of you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Asia Music Summit. I'm Yeoh from Malaysia, and in this session, we are going to bring you an introduction to 11 countries from Asia, possibly territories that might not be familiar, their music industry, and opportunities. And by opportunities, we are talking about getting bands, musicians, and whatever genre of music they play to travel into Asia, and also to bring bands from Asia out. Obviously, travel and concerts are not looking great right now. So maybe this is the year for regrouping, as well as reaching out, making new contacts, connections, and laying the groundwork for which we can travel again and hold live gigs again. Asia is officially 48 countries according to the United Nations. The travel, logistics, immigration, social, political structure, and the many, many languages and dialects spoken in the different countries can be daunting and confusing, even to us who live and work in Asia. So we're going to try and peel off some layers. We have here live today 11 people from 10 countries. But before I introduce them, I would like to start with the one person that can't be here with us. This is Jung Lee from South Korea. Jung is founder and general director of Seoul Music Week, as well as president of GLOMNET, which stands for Global Music Market Network. He has sent in a video message, which we will now play for you. And this is Jung Lee.
Hello everyone. I'm Jung Lee from Korea. I'm a founder and general director of the Seoul Music Week International Showcase Festival, and also I was the founder and director of the Ulsan World Music Festival, and APAM is the first time international music market in Korea. I was artistic director of the ACC World Music Festival. My most lovely the festival is the Ulsan Jazz Festival. This year 21st anniversary. 4 years ago, I organized the international music market network. We call the GLOMNET, meaning it's a global music market network. We can find our member from all over the world, around the 24 countries, our members, and 25 members. If the foreign artist, when they want to play in Korea or invite by the Korean festival or Korean the venue, absolutely get the performance visa by the Korean embassy in your countries. Korea have some major music festival. The Jazz Festival, two Jazz Festival, Jarasam International Jazz Festival and Seoul Jazz Festival, and Pentapod Rock Festival is mainly rock. And another the festival is the K-pop and indie rock and indie pop, electro, some hip hop, and many the small traditional music festival. Since 7 or 8 years ago, some Korean bands they used to play in the international music festival and venue. Like Jambinai, Sing Sing, and Akdang Gwangchil, The Tune, Dongyang Gojupa, like this. Yes, in Korean government, the Minister of Culture, Sports and Tourism, they have 3 or 4 major branch for the music and performing art. Mainly is a Korean Art Council. We call it ARCO. Second is the Korea Art Management Service. We call it CAMS. And Korea Creative Content Agency. We call it KOKA. For example, one Korean traditional band, when they have an invitation from the foreign country, the CAMS or article, they used to support to the flight cost and the travel cost and the accommodation. Yeah, they're very luckily so many Korean musicians and artists they can make their travel cost by our Minister of Culture. It's very luckily. Our elegant lady, Yeoh, she sent to the email, or she recommend my mention about the opinion about the collaboration. The successful collaboration is pansori meets flamenco. The Korean traditional music pansori is very close to the flamenco with the mood and the vocal style and spirit, and soul is very close. Not only K-pop, but also the Korean traditional music, or we call the Korean world music. Artists, they used to play in frequently to the international festival and venue or the media.
That was Jung from South Korea. And please meet now an amazing group of people from different parts of Asia. From a cluster of countries in the Middle East, we have Hannibal Saad from Syria, who is director of Global Week. Hannibal, if you say hello, they will see you.
Hello, everyone. That's me. I'm directing Global Week for Syria.
From Jordan, Mira Kalfawi, founder and director of Abres Music.
Hello, pleasure to be here.
From Egypt, Ashraf Kafawi, CEO for Da House for Arts and Culture by the Agha Khan Music Initiative.
Hello, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here.
We also have two women from the UAE, Reem Qassem and Mira El Qassimi, but they don't seem to be here yet, so we'll wait for them for later. Two countries from the Himalayas, from Bhutan, Sonam Dorji, Executive Director of the Music of Bhutan Research Center. Hi, Sonam. Sonam's on mute. But from Nepal, the founder of Echoes in the Valley Festival, Ritsu Tuhadla.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. And their close neighbor in India, Eddie Prthviraj, Director of Exodus and Unwind Center.
Hey guys, good to see you all. Man, lovely Asian people. Yep.
And we have two countries from Southeast Asia. From Indonesia, Franki Raden. Franki?
Hi everyone, how you guys doing?
Franki is Artistic Director for Lokeswara Festival and the Toraja International Festival. From Malaysia, we have Sam Kumar, founder of One Drum. Hi, Sam.
Hi, everyone. Selamat petang. Looking forward to the session today.
And from Central Asia, as a collective region, is represented by Husniddin Atto, Director of Oxus Culture.
Hello, nice to meet all of you. It's a great honor to be with you. Thank you.
Now, Jung in his video, has mentioned about different kinds of music events, music genres, festivals, music markets, showcase festivals, collaborations, opportunities, and support organizations in Korea. So let's springboard from there and talk about performance opportunities for international musicians if they wanted to do gigs in your country. And since virtual platforms are the key words for this year, I'm going to ask Hannibal to start, as you have virtual platforms open to your performers, yes? Tell us more about this.
Well, I had two international festivals in Syria from 2005 to 2010. Then the war broke out, and since then I thought of online platform because there's war, and that's the only way you can go about it if you want to involve Syrian and to kind of do video concert or connect Syrian who spread out all over the world. So I have experience from 2012 actually. to work with online and using the power of media. And that is, I made 2 stages, one in Lebanon, one in Netherlands, where I live. And then I asked people around the world who are Syrian to participate with where they are. And we started with 3 cities. It was Amman with Lama Hasboun, our partner since then, and in Beirut and in Amsterdam. And then it grows to 7 and then 10, and then we reach about 35, basically, to ask people to collaborate and to produce a concert where they are, and then we connect it over the media, so on social media.
So is this for international bands as well? Would you take in international bands as well?
That's right, yeah. So the people from Syria send me video because there's war at the time in 2012, 13, 14, and then it grew to many countries, like in mainly in Europe and United States. And then there was international band participating with where they are. And then I made the stage with famous bands and musicians in Lebanon and Netherlands. So it was like the main stage, a hub. And then I connected it to, that was the form I created. And it works because I understand with time that if you do stuff only online, it's not very effective. It's really, you need to do something physical where you run a basic festival, and that's what I did in Netherlands and Lebanon.
Lovely. And I see that Reem Qassem has joined us. Reem, are you there? And could you switch your video on?
Yes, I am here.
We don't see you yet. Your video is off.
It will take me a few minutes to be able to switch my video on, so I can answer your question if you would like to, only through audio for the time.
Okay, well, I did want to ask you, because after Hannibal, who has been telling us about his online platform as well as physical platform, you too have an online platform for performers that might be interested to be featured. So would you tell us about that?
Sure. Yes, it's called basita.live. It's actually going to be live. It's already live, but we will have the first event on the 4th of August. If you wish to check it out, maybe later today, because now we're still working on some technical issues, maybe at night or tomorrow morning, you will see the live events and you will be able to see how the tickets are being purchased. So the idea of the platform is to present a virtual venue, to create a virtual venue with all the aspects of a real venue or a real theater, where artists can share their creative content online with their audiences globally, virtually, while being able to generate income. So they don't have to put it on the free platforms anymore, and the platform is very secured. We use the same technology as Netflix, where the content, no one can download the content or can screenshot it in any way, because the audience member who is logging in has their IP address appearing as a watermark every couple of minutes on the screen. So we've made everything possible to secure the content, to also protect the copyright of the creative content and the artist. So yeah, the platform functions as a virtual theater or a virtual venue. Types of events that can be hosted on the platform are performances that can be either live, happening in real time, or pre-recorded, archived performances or talks or master classes, workshops, training courses, anything that the artist have and can share with their audiences. Yeah, that's it in brief.
Amazing. This is the new way to go. But you also do, okay, before I go on, Reem, apart from Basita, is also performing arts programmer at the Cultural Foundation in Abu Dhabi. Is that live events then? What kind of bands would you bring in?
Yes. So in Abu Dhabi, the Cultural Foundation is the first cultural foundation that was established in 1981. It was closed for 11 years for renovations and just reopened last year in September 2019. And we have a children's library, we have galleries and a theater, and 900-seater theater. We program year-round performances of all types. We focus on popular culture. We host pop stars like Muhammad Abdu and the local Gulf Khaliji artists, as well as also international artists. We've hosted performances such as 1001 Night by Caracalla Dance Theatre, Argentinian dance and drumming Che Malambo, contemporary dance by C. Samuel Mathieu, and so many other international performances and young bands as well. So the performances that we host are very diverse because the UAE is a diverse country as well. There are 202 nationalities living in the UAE. So we try also to offer different types of performances, catering to different types of audiences.
Terrific, because we are at the moment really targeting musicians and bands from other countries and how they can get gigs in all your countries. So let's move on to the two countries in the Himalayas, Bhutan and Nepal. So wonderful places. How do we get there, and what would you be looking for to bring in to your gigs, to your festivals and other events that might be in your country? Rizu, would you like to start?
Yes. Well, we've been bringing in a couple of musicians from like Europe and also from different parts of Asia. And in Nepal, there's basically, let's say like we have like 6 major festivals that takes the place of the genres that we played would be like world music, folk, world music roots. And then another would be jazz genre. Another would be rock, pop, and metal. So basically, and also the new electronic genre is starting up in Nepal as well. Generally, how to get here is by flight, and the easiest way is through Delhi, or if you're coming through from Europe, then it would be through Doha, or there has to be a transit for sure. And besides that, the country, you can get the visa on arrival in Nepal. This 2020 was supposed to be a visit Nepal year, but it definitely, Okay. So I'm sure from 2021, they might even pay the artists to come to Nepal rather than. So the visa problem is, there's no problem at all. You can get a visa on arrival. And in the cities, people do understand and talk English. And also, since Nepal is a very touristic place, since we have a lot of tourists coming for the Himalayan treks and all, so we have a lot of people, at least they understand English, even if they do not know how to reply back. So that's probably I would say.
And Sonam, you're on the other side of the Himalayas. I know you're planning a festival, but at the same time, I know there's a lot going on in Bhutan as well, and you are very much at the helm of it. What music, what bands, what genres would you bring in?
Thank you for giving a chance to be part of this conference. Let me try to be very frank, with all the presenters and all the one who are attending the conference here, with beautiful mountains and temples. Can you hear me? But when we are talking about the music, it's really sad news, because Bhutan is still out of this entertainment world. So, well, plan is always there that we want to start up. We want to start up such a great festival where we can bring all the artists together. Any kinds of genres, any kinds of diverse music, any kinds of, the performers. We want to make sure here on in the future that Bhutan becomes one of the beautiful venues for the artists to come and share their skills. This is why I've been talking with Kaushik last time, and with yourself, I remember I've been trying to get guidance and suggestions from you. we are on the verge of starting international music festival in the future. The level of the festival will be the Festival of the Hidden Kingdom. So this will be the opening door for every Asian musicians, every musicians and performers, arrangers, and music directors across the world to come and share and really collaborate with the Bhutanese art, Bhutanese culture, Bhutanese people. I mean, this is the way that we are looking forward in the future. And the saddest part of the the organization is in Bhutan, we hardly get any state funding or any state support. So that's why Bhutan is very new to this kind of entertainment world. And also, I would say amongst us today, Bhutan is a newly born country when we talk about the entertainment world. So this is where I think in the future, Bhutan will be really looking forward to get suggestions, get help, get your ideologies, get your support, and get your moral support in any cause. I'm always there to listen to you all and to make sure that Bhutan will also one day become a country like yours, where people can come together to celebrate with the music and the nature.
I can't see anyone saying no to Bhutan, really. Isn't it the happiest place on earth? Well, I wish you luck, and I'm sure you're going to get a stampede of people trying to write to you to say, I want to play. I can see Reem and, is it Mira? Mira, I think they're both in the waiting room if they can be let in. But in the meantime, I will go on to Eddie. Eddie, India. What performers would you be looking for to come to India, and what do Indian audiences want to see?
Okay, we are driven by the Bollywood culture, as you all guys know that. So, generally I need to stand from my standpoint where, in south of India, what I do is the music festivals. And, for the festivals, what I look for is, very engaging artists, because, here festival is considered to be a very sensitive issues and sensitive aspect as such. And when we host a music festival, people look for somebody who's really engaging and vibrant on stage, and especially, how do I put it? Any genre would work. From fusion to pop to rock to electronic, all kind of genres, because we have millions of people out here, and varied. They listen to varied genre of music, and it's absolutely fine with any genre. But only one aspect I will look for always is an artist should be very engaging on stage.
So, according to you, it's easier to say what music you don't want to come in rather than what you want to come in. It's just about everything.
Yeah, we have experimented every genre, from extreme metal to pop rock to folk, from all around the world, from Istanbul to from Zimbabwe, any folk from anywhere from the country, anywhere from the world. We are welcomed very, very well, and we have audience for it. But only one aspect is there are different setups. When there is a large setup, then we look for somebody who could engage. When there is an intimate setup, it's absolutely fine that they are very mellow and a singer-songwriter or poetry or anything would do. Yep.
Okay, another stampede going there. Southeast Asia. Frankie, you have two festivals, and I know you've had other festivals as well. And Indonesia is just as hungry for bands and acts and every kind of music. But you tell us, what? If I was a musician, a band from another country, in Canada and anywhere, Africa, USA, what are the performance opportunities in Indonesia?
Well, thank you, Junlin. Well, Indonesia, as you know, is a big market for almost all kind of music. I mean, there are like specific companies who are doing, promoting as promoters of specific music, like what do you call it? House music and jazz and rock, but those are like more commercial kind of music. So that's been going on for years. They have funding to invite all the even the most expensive group in the world. They can bring it to Jakarta because Jakarta especially is a big market. But I am specifically not interested in mainstream music, and especially with a very commercial aspect of it, because my field is different. I'm basically a composer and also a musicologist. As a composer, I have my own orchestra, and this orchestra consisting of all indigenous instruments, 45 pieces. We have also smaller ensemble, and this is a platform for what you are talking about collaboration. I always invite musicians from abroad to become a soloist or to do some sort of collaboration with my musician and producing a CD. I have experience working with an Al-Qaeda from Spain, and we produce a Lokeswara ensemble, and it happened to be in European World Music Chart for months a couple of years ago. That is one of my production we produced together. That's my part as a composer, but as a musicologist, I'm interested of all kind of basically what's called world music, world beat or whatever the term is now. I got lucky because I got support from Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy to run festival basically across the country. So I have like 6 annual festival across the country, which is focusing only on world music, basically. And that's my part. And those, my festival are not commercial. We don't sell tickets. But of course, because of that, I always lack of funding. But I feel I'm still lucky because I'm been able to invite groups from all over the world to come from literally all over the world. But of course, small can. Of course, I also the group. I need the group to find some sort of support also from their ends. That's the problem for my festival because it's not a commercial festival. Now, that festival, like I have it in Bali, I have it in Toraja, I have it in Jakarta. I use the term world music basically just to be able to accommodate music that I like. Of course, almost doesn't mean anything. But of course, I try to avoid, not necessarily always like that. The mainstream like rock, I don't do rock. But jazz, if interested, an interesting group, especially jazz with ethnic flavor, I love it. So anything with have some cultural root, I like it. Doesn't have to be strictly traditional music. Yeah. So that's basically my interest in as a festival director. So I would love very much to invite whoever would like to come to Indonesia. And I'm right now planning to have what I'm thinking a counterpart of WOMAX, right? So I will be producing Indonesian Music Expo in Bali 2021. I live in Bali, so one of the nicest places in the world. So we're going to do festival, but we will start in June basically, but focusing first on Indonesian music first. We try to expose, but then slowly after we can get real established, and I really open the possibility for other musician group from other country, because I think Asia is such a large market, and yet the central of world music market is in Europe. So we have to do something because it's too expensive and too difficult to bring group from Asia to WOMAX, right? So why don't we just create our own what's so-called WOMAX here? I mean, the counterpart of WOMAX, and we do it because Asia is a very large market. And for world music, the market share is $6.5 billion US. It's no kidding. So it's a big market. So that's the goal, basically. Thank you very much, Junlin.
Thank you. So you're talking about artist residencies as well. That's possible.
Exactly. For consecutive 3 years. Normally, I do it for a long term until they can produce real good product. Not just collaboration and then that's dismissed after that. No, this is really.
But can we also mention, as a sort of general music interest, that jazz in Indonesia seems to be like the pinnacle of all festivals. Jazz in Indonesia, for some reason, is just there, up there.
Well, yeah, of course, now I have to differentiate it between people who really love the music or people just think, oh, this is kind of trend, Jazz is not really the music that people really listen to, but they are now become a sort of branding, the popular branding, right? So
that's so controversial, Frankie. I'm not sure we want to go down that road.
No. I mean, this is my opinion. Remember, I'm an ethnomusicologist.
Of course. But our audience right now, I think, would be, we have to think of every kind of musician of every.
Don't worry, we have a lot of jazz festivals. Right?
I know you do.
There are many jazz festivals there, but as I said, do really, if you go to Java Jazz, most of the music are not jazz. But of course, I mean, you can justify whatsoever you call jazz, right? But the thing that's the thing that I don't want to do. I mean, I myself, right? I rather stick with the real music that I presented. I mean, I don't want to get people disappointed. That's my take. Anyhow.
Okay. No, absolutely. Very valid. Sam from Malaysia, tell us music opportunities, music venue, not just the big festivals or the big concert events, but also the smaller venues. Are there such things that if I was a musician and I wanted to come into Malaysia to play, tell us.
Yeah. So in the recent years, there's been more and more of these smaller venues. A lot of independent venues that have come up, run by independent musicians themselves. They basically use it as their studio. At the same time, it's run for proper smaller concerts. There's been quite a few regional bands that have been coming in. I mean, obviously with travel, it really helps. The location in Kuala Lumpur, there's flights from Kuala Lumpur to most of the states in Malaysia, including to Borneo as well, where the Rainforest is held. With AirAsia, there's flights to all the Southeast Asia countries, so that obviously helps in terms of costing as well. Yeah, but the venue as well, there's been some challenges recently with obviously a lot of these venues, because they run independent, they fully rely on concerts and events to manage the place. During the COVID times, there has been tough times, but now, I mean, the government, as part of the art funding, they've also come up with funds to save a lot of these smaller venues to survive, because some of these venues have actually closed down during the lockdown because basically there was nothing happening and they couldn't maintain the place, rentals and things. So yeah, the government's come up with the fundings to help these smaller venues, because I think there is a realization that a lot of the music starts at these smaller venues, the independent, the artists, many of the artists get their smaller breakthroughs, their first shows at these venues before they get invited to major festivals around Malaysia and Asia.
Okay. So we hope everybody survives, really. It's just such a difficult time. But we'll come to the COVID later. Let's just talk about So, international bands are welcome to your country. Mira, welcome. We can see you now. Do you want to add a few things about what... No, I'll come back to you because we're going to talk about export of bands in a minute. Mira is who I'm targeting. Mira, will you bring bands, international bands, in to Jordan?
Hi. Yes, of course, normally under normal circumstances, there are a few festivals that do bring in international acts, but festival-wise, that is fewer than individually organized concerts. In terms of festivals who bring in international acts, we have Jarash Festival, which is an annual governmentally organized festival, which has seen many international acts on its Roman historical theater stages. And of course, We also have Amman Jazz Festival, and we have Al Balad Music Festival. But mainly in Jordan, yearly there are big waves of annually organized concerts, more commonly than festivals. So it's more of a case-by-case basis then. But yes, there are a few specialized and very experienced companies who organize for international artists coming in.
Great. So opportunities there. Everybody, I think everybody's contacts are going to be on Global Toronto's website. So bands who want to play will know who to contact. I want to move on. So we're talking about bands coming in. Let's talk about bands going out of Asia to play. Ashraf, I'm going to come to you in a minute, but let me just talk to Husniddin first, because Husniddin is here. No doubt he is based in Uzbekistan, but he is representing the whole of Central Asia for now. Brave man, 5 countries there. Husniddin, I know you have bands of your own as well, and you have a really great hold and knowledge of musicians from Central Asia. Tell us, if I was a programmer and I wanted to get bands out to play at my event, what would be the best way? How do I get to contacts? How do I get to information? Is there a chance I can see the bands live? Are there music markets, showcase festivals?
It's not easy to answer to this question. No, it's this is my question as well. Where I can find the bands to export, to bring to the world stage. It was long years I was thinking about it, but it doesn't work. Then I start prepare bands by myself, and I start to find the good bands and change the programs to make the work on the program which fits on world stage, on world festivals. If you would like to bring artists from Central Asia, it's a good way is to visit Central Asian festivals. It's one way. And another way is just through somebody else, through some of your friends, you can you can find the bands, or the festival directors who already invited the bands from Central Asia. Unfortunately, it's difficult even to find from internet, to Google it, to find the good bands from internet. Even you can find them, but it's difficult to find their contacts. It's why I'm trying to make the network of Central Asian musicians. Sometimes it's not easy, but sometimes it works, because we have it's a good way is to contact with them through the festivals, as I told you. We have many traditional music festivals in Uzbekistan, and also very great 4 or 5 festivals in Kazakhstan, which organized by the festival director Jung Maybe you have heard about the Tangri Fest. They
amazing festival.
Yes, amazing festival. Yes, and also they have dance festival, and unfortunately, yes, they started last year the kind of music meeting of music professionals, world music professionals in Kazakhstan, and in Uzbekistan. From next year, the Uzbekistan government, Ministry of Culture, preparing to organize a music fair, music expo during the International Music Festival, which will be organized in Uzbekistan. We have the different big festivals, like in Samarkand, Chartronlar Festival, in Termez, Bakshi Epic Storytellers Festival, and in Makam Festival, which it's going to be organized this year in September, but we don't know yet how it will be organized. And during this festival, they're planning to organize showcase festivals, and I think it gives more opportunity for delegates to choose the live, to choose the bands from Uzbekistan, from Central Asia, during the their performance.
Well, we look forward to that. And in the meantime, you are our friend at the moment in Central Asia that we're going to contact. Ashraf, you have this amazing program that I was reading up about. You homegrown musicians and you encourage the young. And so please tell us, I'm full of admiration. Please tell us about this.
Okay. Actually, I also organizing festivals and concerts in Egypt and inviting bands from abroad to perform in Egypt, starting from 2005 until 2017. I was a manager of Grena Theater, located in Azhar Park. It's a big park in downtown of Cairo, in historical Cairo, and also organizing festival and inviting bands around the world to perform. So I back to the initiative now we're working on. Actually, we have two programs, one in Cairo, the capital of Egypt, and one in Aswan in Upper Egypt, to create new generation working in musical field and to save their childhood and save children to working in bad professions. So the idea is to attract children and teenagers and teach them music to become a musician in the future, and they can earn money for their talent instead of working in bad professions. When we start this program, started in Cairo in 2010 and in Aswan just 3 years ago. Actually started with 5 or 6 students. Now in Cairo, we have 120 per year attending the school, and we have many students graduate from our project, and they working now as professional musicians, and also they continue their academic education in conservatory or in music universities in Cairo. So this was project now. In Aswan, actually, we working also to revive the heritage music instruments. This is the oldest music instruments called tambour. This is, I think it's 5,000 years ago, this instrument. So we're working now not only to teach or to train students to play on it, but also to manufacture this by themselves and then to play on it.
Well, that's just so important in so many layers, from social to preservation to, I'm all for children learning them early and knowing where they come from. Well, bravo to you.
Yeah.
Mira, what are the genres of music from your country that you could, for want of a terrible word, export?
Okay, well, we do have a bit of everything. We do have a small but special classical music genre. We also have some experimental musicians. We have a rising electronic scene. Folklore. Jordan is really a melting pot cultures. So we do have lots of subculture music that coexists in Jordan, such as Jordanian and Palestinian and Circassian and Armenian. But unfortunately, at the moment, folklore music is not properly represented and definitely not properly packaged for world music markets yet. And this is literally what we are trying to concentrate on at the moment. But I would like to talk about our biggest music export regionally, which is the indie music bands across the Arabic region. Some call them indie bands, others call them alternative Arabic music or underground music. In the past 10 years or so, Jordan has become most known for exporting indie Arabic bands across the Arab world, really. But the biggest market for Jordanian indie bands is Egypt. So most indie Jordanian artists aspire to make it big in Cairo. I always say, much in a similar way, how rock artists in the 80s wanted to make it big in Japan, in a way. So this is a very big market for Jordanians. And it does make sense that this indie or alternative Arabic sound has become so popular in the Arab region, because they localize and they readapt the most popular genres in the world. So from rock to even death metal to rap to reggae, it's all being done in Arabic and in quite novel and fresh ways. So the new generation Arabs are very, very attracted to those new waves of indie Arab music. So I would say that at the moment, our biggest export regionally across the Arab world would be indie Arab bands. They do have a very good market and they are highly in demand.
And you need to have tons of contacts to get them out into the world, because it looks like, I mean, so far, we've still got some more to go to. Music's just, every kind of genre has reached every part of the world, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm trying to bring it to Bhutan and trying to get Bhutan out, and it's everywhere. I wonder if we can do world peace like this. But let's go on. Mira, tell us what you would like your bands, what kind of bands that are available to go out.
Yes, primarily here and in Abu Dhabi, we mostly have classical music. There's a lot of classical musicians, and they receive a lot of support. Apart from that, I would say the biggest upcoming genre here are the rappers. There's kind of
there you are.
There's an explosion of R&B hip hop scene here in the UAE. Apart from that, we do have a lot of indie bands, but they're still kind of very beginner. And the same thing with the rock band. Actually, it's we do historically have kind of a community for that, but it's very niche to the point where if someone wants to kind of aspire to be a rock star, he would have to go on tours outside the country, because the audience here isn't that big enough for it. And the journey of the artist is usually kind of, they start out as a bedroom artist, and then kind of they start with very, how do I explain it? Kind of gigs, intimate gigs. And then after that, they would either try to represent themselves, and then they find their own whole world of struggles with that. Otherwise, you could find some of these bands through some agencies. However, a lot of our agencies here are very, how do I say it? They don't package the person as a talent that needs to grow, but more like, I am supplying entertainment for your party kind of thing. We do have some labels, you know, we have Universal Mina, we have Sony, but of course the labels are very selective, so you get the majority of these upcoming artists trying to represent themselves. And I guess a good way for a person to find these artists is to either contact a label agent or an agency. But if you really want to actually see kind of the variety of the performance here, you can check out kind of, we have a lot of festivals, a lot of different festivals that happen in the UAE. Actually, Reem and I started an initiative, a festival called Heisa at the Culture Foundation in Abu Dhabi, where we're working on promoting those indie bands that Mira mentioned. And I hope I didn't miss out a genre, but that's my answer for now.
I can see Reem kind of waiting. Reem, can you hear us? You're on mute, by the way. We don't see your video.
Yes, I am here.
But we can hear you. Lovely. Maybe you would like to add to that, since you're in the UAE as well. So my question is, indie bands, rap bands, pop, mainstream bands, if you came from the UAE, for example, would it be colored by an Arabic color? Because
no.
if I'm a programmer and you would do a Western rap or Western hip hop, how, I suppose I'm coming from a programmer's point of view, what is the difference then if I were to find a band from your area that does rap than a band that's doing rap in America or in India? Would there be a difference? Would there be something unusual?
Well, the only difference that I would find is that bands from our area would maybe add Arabic to their performance, but they all perfectly perform in so many other languages. And because the education here is very diverse, and there are lots of young people and artists who speak so many languages. So I don't really feel that there could be a big difference between artists or rappers coming from our region and from abroad. On the contrary, we just had one of the local artists, the local rappers at the Culture Foundation, who performed in both Arabic and English.
Well, I have heard quite a lot of Arabic-colored pop and hip-hop. I mean, even though they emulate themselves to a Western artist, I hear tinges of color, which I like because it makes it unusual, you know, it makes it different. Eddie, India. So many artists. Tell us.
Oh, well,
how do we get to know the artists? How do we find them? Music markets? You, as our friend in India? How?
There are so many agencies and there are so many markets which happens in Bombay and Delhi and places like that. And South, there is only a couple of, market which happens. And of course, there are very good agencies representing artists from India, especially because it's better to go that way, that route. The reason why is then, we could manage a couple of, if in case crisis rises, we'll be able to manage them. We'll be able to choose and advise you who to work with and who to not. The simple reason is all the bands are not cooperative. you know how the artists, some of them are very sensitive, some of them, easy to work abroad, some of them easy to work only domestically, and we know the best. So we would advise you to who to go with and who not to. Yeah.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here. Now, Sonam, you know just about every Bhutanese musician there. So, but how do we get to hear them? How do we get to know about them? Sonam, you're on mute. Sonam, you have to unmute yourself.
Okay. The very easiest way to get connected with the bands in Bhutan, I think it's through me that you can get more ideas how to do it and where to contact, whom to approach. And I'm the only one who does in-depth research and also who has been really promoting and giving platforms for those artists across the country. And
well, you've been in the research center,
Yeah, and I have been doing research for almost now 14 years. And I'm very much, aware of the different genres in the country. What are the beautiful musics existed in the country? And which are the music that needs to get exposed to the world? So, yes, there are so many bands in the country. We have local bands, the folklores, the folk musician band, and also we have so many bands who proclaims that they are also a Western artist type who has their own things. And like Mira said, we also have the new contacts in Bhutanese. We have youths now coming up with their own version of rap songs. And also we have the varieties of diverse musical songs, musical instruments. We have so many max dances, which can be a beautiful part of your events. So in case if you all are looking for a kind of a music from Bhutan, I would suggest and I would urge you all to just get direct contact to me. Then I will be looking forward and I'll suggest you and I will be the person to recommend who are the bands that can be perfect for your event.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Hannibal, you do a lot of co-creations with bands within Syria, but also with surrounding countries and international bands. So where shall we start? you lead the way. Where should we start?
So
should we
I tell
start
you,
with Syrian bands?
in short, I lived in the West. I lived for 10 years. I studied there in the US. And I lived in Europe. And I found out that I meet only people from our region in Turkey. Like instead of in Turkey or Syria, I meet them in Berlin, where, when we find musicians, they are Jordanian, Palestinian, Lebanese. And then I thought, why there's no East-East dialogue? That was in around 2001, 2002. And I was like, why don't do this in our country, like in Egypt or Jordan? And there were two struggles, mainly funding, because really everybody wants to go to the West because this is where the money is. So like established Jordanian musician will say, well, our Syrian want to go to Germany and make it there. And then I thought maybe there is a way to find a way to find a solution to this issue. For example, last year, Mira saw a concert of us in Jordan, where I brought Swiss musician and Jordanian and Syrian, and we worked 3 concerts in Jordan. And so there is a way. It's hard, but there is a way. But this is what we are about, right? To find East dialogue or work within Asia. And where the money is with Goethe Institute and French Culture Center and the Swiss and the Norwegian and the Austrian, and they have export center. And all our country, they do not. So you suffer, sort of thing. And now it's getting worse for me because now there's war in my country. So, but then there's a solution always, is to be creative in finding, like Franki said, find a way to bring something unusual, bring something for your own culture. And like, for example, what Mira said, that there is about Jordan, or what Ashraf said about you know, a special musician with a special talent, and they carry very wonderful culture where they come from, with either instrument or music or sound or language, and you try to co-create it in a way and then build it. It's interesting, but it's like, you know, you're making your own special you know, form where you can export it everywhere. And that's what I did with my big band, for example. I started in Syria, and then there's war. I try to collect them, and we do mainly Syrian music or from Turkey and from the region. And I put together Iranian, Turkish, Indian musician in the form, and we try to take that form and apply it in many countries. So I did it in many European countries, for example, where you have a local band from, let's say, Austria or Switzerland or something, and then I bring the arrangement and the musician and the soloist, and bring other forms to it and make it happen. That could be implied also in all the region where we're talking about, either in India or Bhutan, where you find a smart way to kind of be economically viable and at the same time artistically interesting and draw audience and grow, not only as Frankie said, one event and bye-bye, you know, it's like build it and try to make a long-term investment artistically and financially.
Well, that you're at war and still doing all this, we take our hats off to you. And I know that your Syrian musicians are actually spread throughout the world, aren't they? But you are still in touch. And so we get Syrian bands in, and it is very heartwarming, but a lot of them don't live in Syria. So, but I'm sure you have your finger on the pulse of every one of them, so we would want to keep very much closely in touch with you. Ritsu, how about getting bands from Nepal? What kind of genres, what kind of possibilities to hear them first? I mean, you and Bhutan, Sonam especially, and of course Husniddin in Central Asia. It's just so, it's so remote that it's wonderful. Everyone wants bands from there, but at the same time, it's so difficult to get to. Help.
Yeah, actually, Nepali music has been, you know, very much influenced by Bollywood, like our friend Edison said, like in India. But like since early 2000 or late 90s, the Nepali youngsters started to go very much into the rock genre. So we have a lot of rock, but at the same time, now the new generation is kind of waking up towards like our own ethnic instruments and folklores. And but the thing is, like, we do not. There are a handful of bands that have been able to package themselves as an performing art. Basically, these are, you know, the songs are not only the folk songs, but like the traditional music that people play every evening. They do not actually realize that they are musicians. It becomes just a part of their daily life, just like brushing a tooth in the morning. So in the evening, they all sit together and play music. So these are all the music that's been transmitting through generations by generations, but doesn't have any archival or any documentation. So through Echoes in the Valley, we are also trying to kind of like get these amazing musicians together and package it as an performing art, so that the traditional has to be there, of course, but at the same time, a small part of it has to come out to showcase of what is it that they are actually doing. So we are working on that, and there are some bands that has been traveling in world music festivals around, especially in Europe, not much in Asia, and a lot of rock bands who goes abroad and plays for the Nepali communities living in, let's say, US, or, you know, so those are there. But yeah, if you are looking for Nepali flavor bands, we are definitely coming up. Like our friend Sonam said, we've been, as he's doing in his Bhutan, Nepali is also very, very, like, we are just very new, and definitely there's no help at all from government. There's none. And well, even in this COVID, it's not only for the musicians, there was no help for anyone. in Nepal. So, anyways, so we are coming up, and the musicians are actually bringing in a lot of folk instruments. We didn't even while doing a rap or like so they are kind of like infusing these kind of instruments and instrumentations in the modern genres as well, in the Western genres, so-called Western genres as well. But yeah, there's definitely be loads and loads of interesting Nepali music's gonna be coming out very soon. And now, for now, of course, you can contact me or a couple of other festivals. We do the World Music Festival, so that means folk art and traditionals, world music festivals. We are very much in touch with that, and I also teach ethnomusicology in the university. So in that sense, I'm more towards it. But as I started as an rock bass player actually when I started, so I'm still in touch with all the rock musicians here. Very much. I mean, like the community is very small, so everyone kind of like knows each other. So it's very easy to find bands from here actually.
Well, I think in this day and age where, the world is smaller and the search for the unusual and the different and the something else, this is what everyone's looking for, I think. And I think slowly we need that foot in the door first, and you are all our feet in the door to get in and then know more about it, get more contacts. Now, in Southeast Asia, Indonesia and Malaysia, they are kind of neighbors, but they are so diverse as well. Sam, what kind of Malaysian bands would be ready for export? That terrible word again. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so I think there's been quite a few I would say world music bands that have been coming up in the recent years. Thanks to the platforms of the Rainforest Festival, we have the Georgetown Festival, where they're getting basically viewed by other festival organizers. The challenge, I think, like shared previously as well, we don't really have a music network in Asia. So Franki, definitely looking forward to the initiative that you're going to be working on. I think that's going to be a plus point for the Asia scene.
You're talking about Rainforest World Music Festival trying to start the forum, right, and the music market.
Yes, yeah. I think for the correct. That's something. It's for the region, because I think for the artists to travel to obviously Europe, Womax, the costs with the currency, it's going to be quite a challenge. In Malaysia as well, I think in terms of world music agencies, there are not many out there. A lot of the artists are actually self-represented. So that's the other challenge that they have, networking with, obviously the agencies have a bigger network and contacts. So yeah, that is another something that I'm actually trying to work on as well, to establish hopefully an agency for Malaysian world music bands.
And others as well. Just keep us informed. Now, Franki, when you talk about Indonesian bands, Indonesia itself is just everywhere. I mean, it takes up literally so many islands and so many in the whole of Southeast Asia. So when you talk about like bands that could go out and perform, how?
Well,
what?
Actually depend on the market. The closest market is actually Malaysia. And people in Malaysia love Indonesian mainstream pop music, that's for sure, for many years, right? Right, and they have no doubt. So that's been going on. But then after that, maybe the most popular Indonesian music is gamelan, right? So gamelan has been, performing all over the world, since many, many years ago, especially like Balinese gamelan. Javanese gamelan, maybe a little bit less because it's such a large group. But the most interesting is lately there are what's so-called world music group, which is hybrid group. The genre can be different, right? Very diverse, even what we call hybrid. Their background can be jazz, can strictly ethnic music, but they do something like contemporary. And these bands are like all over the places. That's why my festival, across the country, definitely is an effort to gather all of them, to put it in one place, and make people able to see those bands. So and as I mentioned to you earlier, next year I started a long time ago, 2011, when we invited him to join for Indonesian Music Expo. But then next year we will do it seriously in Bali. I will gather all what's so-called world music, world beat, whatever, from across the country that you never seen, you never heard. Even I sometimes was surprised, and gather in one place in Bali and try to invite people like you guys. You're very welcome from all over the world. So come and then see all those bands. So this is going to be annual event. So it's going to be like some sort of platform to make you guys easier to select groups that you like. But other than that, of course, you can definitely still can find yourself like a group that you really like it, especially traditional music like in Bali. But the problem, if you go find themselves, sometimes they're the wonderful musician, but they don't, I mean, they're really strictly traditional musician. And you have problem with, for instance, getting them to have passport, something like that. So all administrative things sometimes is really a trouble. I have a lot of problem trying to bring traditional music abroad because I have to deal with all these things, sometimes we're late because it takes time to get passport, all those things. And sometimes they're senior musicians who they're great, but they're senior musicians. So that's why I'm trying to make you guys, if you're interested in Indonesian music, easier, and create some sort of platform and you guys can come to. And of course, you can find it also online. Now YouTube, you can find a lot of sample group, but of course, you have to know which one you want to see, something like that. And then how you find them. They're not quite yet well managed. That's another problem, don't have portfolio, something like that. They don't have manager, something like that. So that's basically the situation. That's why I'm trying to do this Indonesian Music Expo next year. I do hope you guys can come to Bali for
the communication, isn't it?
Yeah, and also for vacation, of course. Like I want to go to Bhutan, to everywhere. If I have a chance. Okay, that's it.
Just as a quick note to say, because we were talking about colors from Mira and Maruna just earlier, I have seen African drums being played by Indonesian bands, but played like no African has ever done it before. They use Malay rhythms and different techniques. It is you really gobsmacked to watch. So colors, I think, are very important. Now, I just have to put a word in for Jung-han, who isn't here with us. The Koreans have an amazing structure of music markets, music festivals, showcase festivals, and a support system that is the envy of all of us. So please keep Korea in mind too, even because Jung-han isn't with us. We have a little bit of time left, and we're talking about getting bands in, getting bands out. So I need to talk about something a bit 101, a little bit boring, but logistics. How to get to your country. And now that with COVID this year, travel costs are going to go up next year. Everybody is just hanging on to their chairs. It would make sense that we try and link up areas and regions. I know it's difficult. I know some of us have been trying for years, but let's try again. We have the Middle East, and then we have India, Nepal, Bhutan in the middle. We have Central Asia in north. We have Southeast Asia, and then we have East Asia, where Korea, Japan is. Is there a way of our festivals, even in or events, even in the same period? Does climate play a part in this? Because in East Asia, Korea, Japan, they have quite extreme summers and winters. In Southeast Asia and India, it's hot and wet or hot and dry. It's important. In the Middle East, it's hot or hotter. So what I mean, never mind even linking. Let's start with the Middle East. Mira, Ashraf, Hannibal, Myrna, Reem. We still can't see you. Oh dear. Now you are UAE, you are Egypt, you are Jordan, Syria. Even between the few of you, is it logistical? Is it possible? Hannibal? Ashraf, go ahead.
I think it's possible. I think it's very possible because at the end of the day, people need exchange of emotion, and music is great for that. So there will be need, even if it's more expensive. I think they'll find a way. You know, in my country there was war, and I made hundreds of concerts in the past 10 years. Really, hundreds of them. In Jordan, I made like 10 last year. In Lebanon, I make about 25. Even with all difficulties, people will find ways. I believe in this, really. So it's just another way. It's extra hard, I would say, especially financially, to find a way. But also, maybe there is a way, if there's smart software, that we can build things online to do the co-creation. I'm not sure it will work. I don't see anything now, but I believe, yes, culture will continue, and there will be festival and exchange for sure.
Because it's a coordination between everybody, isn't it? Ashraf, you were going to say something earlier.
Yeah, as Hannibal said, actually the logistic between the Middle East countries, especially Jordan and Egypt, UAE, is easy, especially between Jordan and Egypt. There is no visa needed from the artist to go to Jordan or to go to Egypt. So easier for Egyptian programmers to invite Jordanian bands to perform in Egypt. So it's easy to come to Egypt and perform. Also, the Egyptian programmers and the Egyptian audience, they are willing to attract or to see or to invite bands from Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine, Tunisia, and Morocco. This is very interested in Egypt, and the Egyptian audience like this kind of music they perform. The problem with Asia is the distance is there so far, and also it's expensive for flights, for blah, 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 blah. But for the Middle East is easier for logistics, cheaper, and also the culture is same. That's why the Egyptian audience and the programmer easier to invite bands from Jordan or from Lebanon or from the Middle East more than other countries.
Well, if I was a Canadian band or an American band or an African band, the three main airlines that seem to fly there is Emirates, Qatar, Etihad, isn't it? So is that the three main gateways to get in and then spread open and then do internal travel? Reem, oh, lovely to see you now. Reem, you're the UAE, you're in Abu Dhabi, and that's the home of Etihad, isn't it?
Yes.
You and Mira. So is that a gateway? Is that a good gateway to get into the Middle East before doing internal travels?
For me, when I used to live in Egypt, I felt it was easier because flights are shorter and flight connections were more convenient for me. But it's very, very easy to get anywhere from Abu Dhabi, and flights are available and they are very, very comfortable. I don't see any challenges in getting where you want to go. And honestly, in our work as well, traveling is a basic need. It's not something that you do only when you have to, but no, it's a basic need, because otherwise you won't be able to program performances. We have to see the performances, we have to meet the people, interact with people in real life, and then program performances and be able to work with them and build long-term partnerships and relationships.
And we hope it comes back soon. Ritu had already mentioned that to get to Nepal, and Sonam to get to Bhutan. India seems to be a big gateway, isn't it? So visas, tell us more, the three of you. Eddie, how is it easy? Would you work together? Would you be able to do an internal travel scheme? Like if I'm a band from Europe, Canada, America?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've already worked with Nepal, Himalayans Blues Festival. I don't know whether my friend recognizes it. I've hosted the Himalayan Blues Festival in India, around Chennai, Bombay, and other cities. But after the earthquake, I couldn't go further. But since we don't have a visa problem with Nepal and Bhutan, I haven't worked with Bhutan yet. But
then you must, because we all want to get there.
Yes, that's our focus. But gateway is from anywhere from the world. Easily they could land in Bombay or Delhi. There are the major gateways of India, and of course the other cities also easily connectable from on the domestic side of it. Like there's a whole lot of air routes and rail routes, and once you land in India, it's very, very easy to connect with any other cities and even the smaller towns too. So we have. Yeah, please go ahead.
Is it easy to, like, if I'm a band and I want to do, I don't want to fly all the way just to do one gig. Is it easy to connect?
No, if I have to talk for myself, if I'm inviting a band, I'll definitely do a plan that would minimum of 5 gigs that is covering all the cities. And I would start, if the band could land in Chennai, that means that I would choose the closest city, the next and the next and the next that goes that way, and cover the whole, as much as possible. And exiting, if it is if the band is coming from anywhere which the connectivity is less, but we have exit very much out from Delhi. There are a lot of flights which I can't name, but there are so many flights go out of Delhi. There's so many flights go out of Bombay. So that is not going to be a problem for any band from anywhere in the world, I would say.
Great, because I think this session is kind of mainly aimed to musicians and or programmers or managers and agents, and they would want to know how, where, what, when, all these. And I think this is very, very important. Can I just go to Rizu? Yes.
Yeah, and through Music Connect Asia, we are also trying to make this route for the artists whoever is traveling to Asia, for example, India, Nepal, Bhutan, so that we can, it'll be easier for the artists as well to have the more varieties rather than just coming there for a couple of gigs and then going back. And at the same time, the condition of Nepal is, even though like the artists, they come and play, what they usually do is like they buy their own flights, because even the Nepalese festivals can host the artists when they are here, but the festivals here, even if they are like ticketed festivals, won't be able to pay much. That'd be totally negligible according to like how much it is usually being paid in the world music markets. And in my festival, Echoes in the Valley, it's no ticket, and we raise money within the community to make this festival happen. And the government doesn't. So it is big problem when it comes to the monetary thing, the salary for the artist thing. But
I think we have to do this step by step. First we get the connections, and then we work out the nitty gritty. But it is good to know. We have only a few minutes left, so I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to rush to just Indonesia and Malaysia. Is it possible to do? You have the same kind of actually, I'm going to speak on your behalf because I want to just get Husniddin in before we leave. Indonesia, I think Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, Jakarta are the best places to link to, and Bali, of course, right? So if big flights, you all have the same climate. so when it's good for one, it's going to be good for the other. So I think a possible internal tour, and even Thailand, Singapore is all very accessible and near. Okay, can I just go quickly to Husniddin? Husniddin, five huge countries in Central Asia for you. Just tell us in 2 minutes. Go.
Okay. We have all borders. In Uzbekistan have borders with all 4 countries. The good way is coming to Central Asia and departing from the region is from Kazakhstan and from Uzbekistan. It's airports Astana, Almaty is Kazakhstan, and Tashkent in Uzbekistan. It's difficult for logistically to play a concert for whole region, but it's possible. It is possible.
But your festivals and events, would they be in a specific part of the year, or are they scattered?
For traveling, for concerts from April until mid-October, until October, it's okay. But the festival is mostly in summertime. As one is in beginning of April, and May, June, July, August, September, like this period.
That's quite a long summer.
Yeah, but it's possible to organize the tours, but we never did anybody such tour. I cannot remember. Only Exikland band, I think it was 2001 or 2002. Exikland band made this 5 countries tour, and the rest of them I don't remember. But it's possible.
Are you talking Exikland? Exikland is in the Mongolian band.
Mongolian band, yes. Mongolian
Germany.
Band based in Germany. Yes, exactly.
They're the only one. No.
Yes.
We need more.
Rest bands, they had only for 2 countries, 3 countries, or 4. Unfortunately, I don't remember for who played for 4 countries in the same time period. But it's possible. The visas is no problem, except Turkmenistan. If you need to go to play to Turkmenistan, you should get a visa from the countries where the based Turkmenistan embassy. Or I didn't check yet. This is a good question. Or I will check from the Turkmenistan embassy in Tashkent. I think it will be possible. Flight transportation, it's a bit difficult because of time, but land transportation, it's possible. By car, you can travel whole 5 countries. But the only is traveling to Ashgabat, is Turkmenistan capital, is a bit longer. It takes a bit long, and it says that your arrival city or departure city, if it should be Ashgabat, and it makes a bit easier for timing for your tour. But it's not easy. But most possible travel to perform concerts in 4 countries: Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. But the problem is with support. Unfortunately, there is no tradition to playing concerts with tickets for international bands. Unfortunately, only if there is a stars, only for pop stars, it's possible. But unfortunately, for world music, with audience of 200, 300 people, it doesn't get. You cannot cover the costs, unfortunately. And also, if you have buses support, then it's possible to make this 4 country, or let's hope 5 countries tour.
Well, little steps, and hopefully it will grow from here. I was going to ask you, I think we've run out of time. I was going to ask you all, how are you all doing in your own countries in this very strange and terrible time? But we're probably going to have to stop soon. I hope this group will grow, this connection will grow. I think Europe, America, they have such a wonderful system and communication set in. We need the same. I was listening into the African Summit yesterday from Global Toronto, and they were amazing festival and networks as well. And we'll talk about visas, but we worry that there's going to be a new visa coming out for the future for all of us. You know, do we have a COVID-19 visa? God help us. But we live in hope. So I wish you well. I wish you stay safe, and thank you for joining us. And thank you to all our listeners that we can't see. This is really weird not being able to make contact with people that we are talking to. Thank you to Music Connect Asia. Thank you to Global Toronto for just making this possible. I think you give us hope. Myrna, thank you. Franki, Rizu, Eddie, Sam, Husniddin, Sonam, Mira, Reem, Hannibal, and Ashraf. So lovely to meet you, some of them for the first time. And stay safe, and we will keep in contact. And I'm sure the world, through Global Toronto, will also keep contact with you. And we live in hope, okay? Stay well. Thank you to all of you.